I think the cultural dance aspect of KP's PCNs have definitely evolved over the course of the years.
Through the years of my involvement in KP's PCNs, I've seen so much progress in such a small amount of time.
KP's cultural dances have always been amazing, and it's only getting better with the help of people from LM. We've had LMDC join KP, and they brought their knowledge, and that's something I really love about it.
The continued growth of resources and creativity to make those dances possible does not go unnoticed.
We are only lucky enough to have these resources and to be able to know and learn the culture behind it.
I think it has evolved throughout the years by adding more depth in how we view cultural dance. It's not just a dance, it's a person's identity, it's their way of life.
We are only as good as our knowledge behind it. Everything you do in PCN, you always have to do it with intent, good intent.
We do our best to continue spreading the knowledge that was given to us, but we know that there's still a lot of learning and unlearning that we need to continue doing.
I think KP specifically, we always want to make sure that we are educating our members on these dances. We can never do a performance not knowing why we're doing it or what is it about or the history and context behind it. So it's such a beautiful thing to bring communities together and to amplify voices that deserve the spotlight. Behind the stage is just as important as on the stage.
Hi, I'm Maria Laron Ramos.
Ako si Faisal Munal.
My name is Jorge Betancourt.
My name is Jan.
I'm Eric Solano.
I am Jenny Bauer Young from the Kalinga tribe, one of the provinces of Cordillera region of the Philippines.
My involvement in the dance community is a dance director for Little Manila Dance Collective.
I'm artistic director of Parangao Dance Company, and I would say my role in the community in general is to connect community to Philippine culture.
I am an Ilocana, Ilongga, Capisnon Filipina American, born and raised in Stockton, California. And my involvement in the dance community definitely started in participating in PCN through Kilosan. And it started back in 2014, where I also got involved with the Little Manila Dance Collective. So I definitely connected a lot in the dance community back in NorCal.
Ako ay isang guro sa pamantasan ng Cotabato, yung Cotabato State University. At the same time, ako din yung dance choreographer ng Salamidan of Dance Company. Isa akong musician, tumutugtog ako ng mga Maguindanao instruments, at saka isa rin akong chanter. Ako ay nakatira sa Cotabato City.
So my role is to educate, share, promote and preserve our traditional Kalinga visual arts, performing arts to whoever that is interested to learn and appreciate it.
In the very beginning, when I started learning, it was more to have fun because I had no idea about Philippine dance and culture or anything like that growing up in Philippines, in my province. And then the purpose now is to bridge, our younger generation, our community, or whoever reaches to us or to me about finding their roots.
The purpose is to connect with my ancestor, telling stories using movements of my dance, expressing myself when words are not enough to express, and to give me sense of home. And traditional and cultural dance is our life in the community. So dance is just not a movement, it builds upon generation of culture and history. When you dance, you are speaking of another language with your body, communicating the culture and heritage of your ancestors.
For me as a person, dance itself has always been a huge part of who I am, especially now, it's become such a huge part of my identity. It also helps me branch out more. With me diving into cultural dance, it wasn't just about the dances. because each dance that I saw and each dance that I learned had a whole history behind them. The people who created these dances had a whole history behind them too. So it was kind of like a nonstop learning of dances, of people, of different traditions, just different cultures that are all coming together. And so just recognizing that the Filipino culture is a lot deeper than what I originally thought of it as when I was a child.
What really amazed me in what I saw was that all the different dances that we have in Philippines, going from north, central, and the south, how just beautiful it was, and everything was different. It was like, so this is what being Filipino is like, or this is who the Filipino people really are.
I think it's important to keep our history and culture alive. And it is the way how to tell the people our stories. And also it creates the sense of identity and belongingness.
So a PCN, otherwise known as a Filipino Cultural Night, is a production that's put together by students for the students and also for the community at different Filipino American orgs all throughout California, possibly even throughout the US. It's basically a way to show our story as Filipino Americans, as Filipinos, through different art forms like acting, singing, dancing. All of that comes to play in putting this one production together.
So for me, I had Yoki Kilosan PCN. I was involved basically all 4 years in undergrad.
My PCN involvement really started off with actually being part of a dance company, which was the Attires, and reaching out and facilitating with collegiate groups, collegiate Filipino dance groups.
PCN was definitely the gateway for me in gaining interest with cultural and folk dance, and having access to individuals like Monong Brian or Brian Batugo. Without that, I don't think I would have immersed myself with Little Manila and devote my time to learning beyond dance and performing, but really getting to know each culture a little bit more.
My journey with PCN dancers really begins on understanding who the people are and where they are right now. So it's sharing news, sharing short snippets about how they're planting, and how harvesting and planting really plays along with how we dance and how we perform.
It's just doing it with meaning, basically. Like that was kind of one of the reasons why we started putting an emphasis in teaching the history of these dances as well as the significance of them, because we wanted it to have meaning, you know, like we didn't want to just throw in the dance in our PCN and be like, okay, that's our Maguindanao set. That's it. And then just throw it in at a random place where it doesn't make sense. Like we wanted it to be a part of the story. And a part of that was really learning from our mentors and really asking them specific questions of what we can and can't do. And I think that's a really important step for anyone who chooses to take on cultural dance.
So I'm really happy that the universities and schools have the Philippine Culture Night, because it serves as an entry point for everybody that that wants to find out about Philippine culture, find out who they are. The love and passion and interest into it is what moves everybody, and you can see that joy on stage.
I feel proud that they are promoting our cultural dances, and happy that they are expressing or showcasing our Filipino culture. So when doing the dances, go beyond not just learning the dances, the movements, and learn more about the origin of these dances or those dances that you are gonna dance, where they came from and what they mean, and try to look into your own history to see what you can learn from that.
Maganda dahil nagkaroon ng word understanding sa culture namin. Kasi kung hindi namin na-share sa marami, walang nakakaalam. They don't know our culture is existing. So when we share it to the world, I'm very happy that everyone appreciate our culture, our unique culture.
I appreciate so much the appreciation and the eagerness to learn the cultural dances. And I think it's first is you respect. That is very important. Respect the culture, learn the right movement, and keep it real. So yeah, there's really a lot that I heard about the PCN, but one thing that I want to say is I hope they will learn first who they are or into their family, where they came from, their history. I mean, as Filipinos. So before they will jump in with other cultural tribes or something. So you have to learn first your own, and then you go from that. You have to respect your own first.
I know that from my experience, YouTube is the number one stop or platform to look for dances, right? But I call out to the PCN that look beyond what's available to you, because we're just here with the information, and we can also connect you directly to the indigenous community so that way you can learn from them.
My advice for anyone that wants to start is reach out, build that connection, and spread a message of someone's love for their own culture.
What I want is kanang mosayo ta kabaluta sa historical background para kung masayo ta ma-appreciate nato maayo, kay kung dili nato ma-appreciate og maayo ug wala ta kabalo unsa ang background sa imong gisayaw. Para kung masayo ka ang imong emotion, ang imong feeling towards sa culture, mag-portray gyud nimo.
My main response and advice to this is to do your research, and doing your research isn't just going to YouTube and seeing what these dances are. I think it's important to consider and think, does everyone in PCN know the history of how PCNs actually began? We as Philams and organizations do not have that answer of if it's appropriation or not, because we don't identify as Indigenous. Unless you identify as Indigenous, we also see that there is a plethora of perspectives of the importance of PCNs or importance of teaching cultural dance, and like whether or not we should put it on stage. So acknowledging that show and performance was made to be larger than what is actually rituals, right? So what could we do? Could we think critically? Are we aware of potentially cultural appropriating Indigenous groups that are currently existing? And I think if you're able to all question, and the fact that you can question it is a good first step.
Maybe we're forgetting that our indigenous communities are called indigenous people. There is just indigenous in the beginning, but they're also people, they're also human, they're just like us. They have more knowledge about the environment and everything else that revolves around them. And that's something that we can always learn from, that maybe we're taking for granted, but does not mean that they are other. They should have their own voice, right? And we should support them and find ways, the way that we can and the best way that we know how to uplift the indigenous people.
Para sa mga PhilAms na patuloy sila nag-aaral ng mga culture, una-una ako'y nagpapasalamat at sa ng technology ngayon, in this contemporary world, nandun pa rin yung love ninyo sa culture. Kasi wala pong mag-stand ng pride ng culture natin kundi tayo. Walang magmamahal sa culture natin kundi tayo mga Pilipino. Yun ang identity natin. Yun yung culture natin. Yun yung heritage natin. Walang iba. Tayo yon.
My message is do it with love. Do it with the purpose that you do anything else. You always want to walk and run, learn with a purpose. And really what we want to do is just love what we're doing. You want to do everything with love. And that's what we all will see.
Keep on dancing, PCNs. Be proud for our cultural Filipino dances. Yeah, there's a lot of people that you can reach if you need somebody. Mabuhay kayo.
My final words sa mga viewer, you should be proud of the culture and the heritage that we have. Unique ta ani kay kita lang ni sa tibuok kalibutan nga naing ani no. So with this, I'm encouraging everyone to please continue. So no matter what, kita lang gid ang magmahal sa atong culture.